A very warm welcome to the class, children. So today's topic is quadrilaterals part 1. So in this video we are going to study about the different types of quadrilaterals, their properties, some of the theorems, and then we are going to solve the exercises regarding it. So before moving ahead, we need to understand first what is a quadrilateral. So this is a diagram of a quadrilateral A, B, C, D. So whenever you're naming any figure, it has to go either clockwise or either you have to go anti-clockwise. Okay, so here it is named as A, B, C, D. So they say which write the following pairs considering the quadrilateral A, B, C, D. So pairs of adjacent sides. Adjacent sides means which are besides each other and they would have a common vertex. So AB, correct, segment AB is adjacent to segment BC and they have a common vertex as B, sorry. Okay, similarly segment BC is adjacent to segment CD, then segment CD is adjacent to segment AD. Okay, this is how you have to name the adjacent sides. Then they have said pairs of adjacent angles. So angle A is adjacent to angle B, then angle B is adjacent to angle C. So you can see this angle B is adjacent to angle A as well as angle C. Okay, so then angle C is adjacent to angle D and angle D is adjacent to angle A. So this was about the pairs of adjacent angles. So let's write down. I will write down the same thing here. Pairs of adjacent sides. It would be segment AB and segment BC. Okay, then the second pair would be segment BC and segment CD, then segment CD and segment AD, and the fourth pair would be segment AD, or I can say DA and segment AB. Okay, so these were the pair of adjacent sides. Now pair of adjacent angles. The first one is angle A and angle B. Second pair goes as angle B and angle C. Third pair angle C and angle D, and fourth pair would be angle D and angle A. Okay, now these were adjacent sides. Now let us understand about the pairs of opposite sides and opposite angles. Okay, so opposite sides would be segment AB and segment CD. Similarly, segment AB, AD and segment BC. So these are the opposite sides, and opposite angles would be angle A and angle C and angle B and angle D. Okay, so let's write down. Here again I would write down the sides here. Segment AB and segment CD and segment AD and segment BC. Okay, so an angle A is opposite to angle C and angle B is opposite to angle D. Okay, so this is how you have to remember them. Now let us study about the types of the quadrilateral and their properties. In 8th standard you have already done it, but let's revise them. Recall the types of quadrilaterals and their properties. So I am a quadrilateral and these are the 4 types of quadrilateral and their properties. So we need to guess the types of the quadrilateral depending upon their hints which are being given, and even determine some of the properties. So the first quadrilateral says my both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, and one more hint is given that opposite sides are congruent. So that means they say that the pairs of the opposite sides of this particular quadrilateral are parallel as well as they are congruent. So it is a parallelogram. So the properties are opposite sides are congruent and opposite angles are also they are congruent, and the diagonals bisect each other. Okay, so this is a parallelogram. and the diagonals bisect each other. So if this is A, B, C, D, the parallelogram, and if the diagonals bisect each other at O, then AB is equal to AO is equal to OC and BO is equal to OD. So that is about the diagonals. So when both the pairs of the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are parallel and congruent, we say that it is a parallelogram. Their opposite angles are congruent and their diagonals bisect each other. The next is my all angles are right angles. So this can be a square or either it can be a rectangle. But in the properties they have given that opposite sides. If it was a square, they would have given that all the sides are equal. But here opposite sides they are saying, so it is a rectangle. So my all angles are right angles. So this is a rectangle. Its opposite sides are congruent. And about the diagonals are also congruent. So rectangle, its all angles are right angles, its opposite sides are congruent and its diagonals are also congruent. Then the next is my all sides are equal in length, and they have given about opposite sides also. So again this cannot be a square because they have not spoken anything about the angles, that all angles are 90° or right angles. So this is a rhombus. So in rhombus, all sides are equal in length. Their opposite sides are parallel. Okay, the opposite sides are parallel, and in this rhombus, diagonals are perpendicular bisectors. They are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Okay, so this is the rhombus. Then the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors. So suppose this A, B, C, D and M is A, B, C, D is a rhombus. M is the uh, intersecting point of the diagonals AC and BD. Then you can say that AM is perpendicular to BD. Okay. The next is my all angles are equal and all sides are equal. So yes, it is a square and its diagonals are congruent. The last type of quadrilateral they have said, my only one pair of opposite side is parallel. So that is a trapezium. So out of the two pairs of the opposite sides, only one pair of the opposite side is parallel. So in that case, that type of quadrilateral is a trapezium. So till now we have studied the types of the quadrilaterals are parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, square and trapezium. This is just a gist about the properties what we have done in the previous slide. Parallelogram, opposite sides are equal and parallel, opposite angles are equal. Children, again I am repeating that you need to by heart the properties and know the properties, only then you would be able to solve these exercises. Rectangle, opposite sides are equal and parallel, all angles are right angles. A square, opposite sides are parallel, all sides are equal, all angles are right angles. And rhombus, opposite sides are parallel, all sides are equal, opposite angles are equal and the diagonals bisect each other at right angle, that is 90°. Okay, let's solve an theorem. The theorem says opposite sides and opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. We need to prove. They have given that ABCD is a parallelogram. When it is a parallelogram, what are the properties of parallelogram? That they are, their sides, their opposite sides are parallel. Okay, and we need to prove that the opposite sides, these two pairs of opposite sides and the opposite angles are congruent. So every time you remember that we had done in triangles also, that for a theorem you need to always write down given, to prove and the proof, correct? So the first thing starts as, they have said given is ABCD is a parallelogram. It means that AB is parallel to DC, AD is parallel to BC. You need to prove that opposite sides are congruent. So that means AD is congruent to BC, DC is congruent to AB. Similarly, pairs of opposite angles are congruent. So angle ADC is congruent to angle CBA, and angle DAB is congruent to angle BCD. So whenever you are writing about the sides, always mention segment AD is congruent to segment BC and segment DC is congruent to segment AB. Construction, draw a diagonal AC. Okay. Now, as given that AB is segment DC rather is parallel to segment AB, and diagonal AC is a transversal. So angle DCA is congruent to angle BAC, and angle DAC is congruent to angle BCA. Aren't they forming a Z? Aren't they forming a Z? Yes, so that they are congruent by the alternate angle test. These two are congruent by alternate angles. Okay, now take these two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle BC or CBA, ADC and CBA. Just now we proved that angle DAC is congruent to angle BCA and angle DCA is congruent to angle BAC. Okay, and this is a common side. Segment AC is congruent to segment CA, common side. So these both triangles are congruent by angle side angle test. Okay, so then when we prove that these two triangles are congruent by any test, the rest of the sides and the rest of the angles automatically become congruent. So that is called as, that means side AD is congruent to side CB and side DC is congruent to side AB. Okay, that is because of CSCT, that means corresponding sides of congruent triangles. Similarly, angle ADC is congruent to angle CBA, and angle DAB is congruent to angle BCD by CACT, that means corresponding angles of congruent triangle. So here we have proved. So what did we do? We first taking into consideration that the two sides are parallel and there is a transversal, we prove that the pair of two angles are congruent by the alternate angle test. Then we took these two triangles, we considered again the pair of angles which we had taken as alternate angles, and we took the common side and proved that these two triangles are congruent by ASA test, and the remaining sides and angles are congruent by CSCT and CACT. Okay. Next, diagonals of the parallelogram bisect each other. Okay, that means bisect each other, that means if PR is there, when I say they bisect each other, that means this PO is congruent to RO and QO is congruent to SO. That we have to prove. So diagonals of the parallelogram bisect each other. So given is, this is a PQRS is a parallelogram. Diagonals PR and QS intersect in point O. So what we need to prove, that PO is congruent to RO and SO is congruent to QO. Again, you can take these two triangles POS and triangle ROQ. Okay, in these two triangles we can say parallelograms, obviously the opposite sides are parallel. So angle OPS is congruent to angle ORQ by alternate angles, correct? Then PS is congruent to side RQ because is a parallelogram and opposite sides of the parallelogram are congruent. Then PSO is congruent to RQO, again by alternate angle test. So that means these two triangles are congruent by angle side angle test. Again, because these two triangles we have taken and they are congruent by the angle side angle test, we can prove the other sides as congruent by the CSCT. So segment PO is congruent to segment RO and segment SO is congruent to segment QO by corresponding sides of the congruent triangles. So these were the two theorems which we need to do before starting with the practice set 5.1. So let's start with the practice set 5.1. Before that, just I would glance with some of the properties. Adjacent angles of the parallelogram are complementary. Complementary means, supplementary means they are, their addition is 180 degree. Suppose this is a parallelogram, okay, A, B, C, D. So angle A plus angle B would be 180 degree. Similarly, angle B and angle C would be 180 degree. Angle C and angle D plus angle, okay. Angle A plus angle B would be 180 degree. Angle B plus angle C would be 180 degree. Angle C plus angle D would be 180 degree, and angle D plus angle A would be 180 degree. Okay. Then opposite sides of the parallelogram are congruent, opposite angles of the parallelogram are congruent, and the diagonals of the parallelogram bisect each other. Okay, these all properties we need to keep in mind for solving the exercise. So practice set 5.1 in the first sum says diagonals of the parallelogram WXYZ intersect each other at point O. If angle XYZ is equal to 135 degree, then what is the measure of angle XWZ and angle YZW? If a length of OY is 5 centimeter, then find the length of WY. So for that we need to draw a parallelogram, that is a diagram of parallelogram. The diagonals bisect each other, so we'll name it as W, X, Y, Z, and they intersect at point O. This angle, that is XYZ, is 35 degree. This entire angle is 135 degree, and your length of OY is 5 centimeters. Only this much is 5 centimeters. Okay, so now as XYZ is 135 degree, we have studied the properties that opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent or equal. So if angle XYZ is 135 degree, the opposite angle to it is this. So that means angle XWZ is 135 degree, that we have found out. Then they say what is angle? Find out the angle YZW. Again, one of the property is that the adjacent angles of a parallelogram are supplementary. That means their addition is 180 degree. So this 135 plus 135 degree plus angle WZY is equal to 180 degree. I would subtract 180 minus 135 and I would get the measure of this. Okay. So let's write solution. Angle XYZ is equal to 135 degree given. Then angle XYZ is equal to angle XWZ by opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent or equal. Okay. So since XYZ is equal to 135 degree, therefore angle XWZ is equal to 135 degree. That is from 1 and 2. Okay. So we have proved. Then we can say angle XWZ, okay, XWZ plus angle WZY is equal to 180 degree. Why? Because adjacent angles of a parallelogram are supplementary. Okay, so XWZ, just now we found out that it is 135 degree plus WZY, or I can even write this as YZW. Okay, YZW is equal to 180 degree. Therefore, angle YZW is equal to 180 minus 135 degree. Therefore, angle YZW is equal to 45 degree. So, we have found the measure of these two angles. Now, they have asked about OY is 5 centimeter, you have to find out the entire WY. So the property of the parallelogram says that the diagonals of the parallelogram bisect each other. So OY is equal to half of WY. Okay, OY is equal to half of WY. So we can find out the WY. So we can write about that OY. That OY is equal to half of WY. Why? Because diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. Okay. So therefore 5 is equal to half WY because it is given. Okay. So therefore 5 into 2 is equal to WY. Therefore WY is equal to 10 centimeters. Okay. So this is how we have to solve this. So length of WY, we can say it is 10 centimeters. This was about the first sum. So what all we had found out? Angle XWZ is equal to 135 degree. Angle YZW is equal to 45 degree. And length of WY is equal to 10 centimeters. Next sum says in a parallelogram ABCD, angle A is 3x plus 12 degree and angle B is 2x minus 32 degree. Then find the value of x and find the measures of angle C and D. Okay. So first we need to draw a diagram of parallelogram. So it goes like this: A, B, C, D. A is 3x plus 12 degree and angle B is 2x minus 32 degree. Okay. To find out x and also angle C and D. So we have studied the property that adjacent angles of the parallelogram are 180 degree or supplementary. Okay, with that we'll be find out that is 3x plus 12 degree plus 2x minus 32 degree is equal to 180 degree. So by solving we'll get the value of x degree. Okay, so when you find out the angle, this angle, measure of this angle, then obviously the angle C would also be congruent. Why? Because they are opposite angles. Similarly, angle B is congruent to angle D. Why? Again, opposite angles of the parallelogram are congruent. So let's start. Solution: ABCD is a parallelogram. Therefore, angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degree. Why? Adjacent angles of a parallelogram are supplementary. Okay, so therefore A is 3x plus 12 degree and your B is 2x minus 32 degree is equal to 180 degree. This is given. Then when you open the brackets, you get this: 3x plus 12 plus 2x minus 32 is equal to 180 degree. Then you take the like terms together. Then 3x plus 2x gives 5x and minus 32 plus 12 gives you minus 20 is equal to 180 degree. Therefore 5x is equal to 180 degree plus 20. Therefore 5x is equal to 200. Okay. So therefore x is equal to 200 upon 5. That is x is equal to 40. So we have found out this, that the value of x is 40. Now angle A is congruent to angle C, correct? So let's find out about the angle C and angle D. I will draw the diagram again. This is the parallelogram ABCD. This angle is 3x plus 12 degree and this angle is 2x minus 32 degree. Okay, 2x. So angle A is congruent to angle C and angle B is congruent to angle D. So angle A is equal to angle C. because opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So therefore angle C also would be 3x plus 12 degree. Therefore angle C is equal to 3 into x. X what how much you have found out? 40, correct? Plus 12 degree. Therefore 3 into 40 plus 12 degree, that gives us 120 plus 12 degree. Okay, so that means angle C is equal to 132 degree. Similarly for angle D is equal to angle B, same thing, opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Okay, so angle D is equal to 2x minus 32 degree. So 2 into 40 minus 32 degree, that gives us 2 into 40 minus 32 degree. So 80 minus 32 degree. Therefore angle D is equal to 48 degree. Okay, isn't it? So your answer is angle C is equal to 132, angle D is equal to 48, and value of x is equal to 40 degree. The next sum says perimeter of a parallelogram is 150 centimeter. Perimeter means addition of all the sides. So one of its sides is greater than the other side by 25 centimeter. Find the length of all the sides. So let us draw a diagram of parallelogram. So A, B, C, D. So they say one side is greater than the other side by 25 centimeter. If we take one side as x, the other would be x plus 25. And we very well know that opposite sides of the parallelogram are congruent. So this also would be x plus 25. Okay. And this also would be x. AB is congruent to CD. So this also would be x. And BC is congruent to AD. So this also would be x. So then we would add all this because perimeter is 150. So AB plus BC plus CD plus AD is equal to 150 centimeter, and with that we would be able to find out the value of x and the value of x plus 25. Okay, so let's start the solution. ABCD is a parallelogram that is given, no? Parallelogram. Let AB is equal to x centimeters. Therefore, according to the given condition, the other side would be BC x plus 25 centimeters. Okay, so therefore CD is equal to AB is equal to x centimeters, and AD is equal to BC is equal to x plus 25 centimeters. Both the reason would be opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. Okay, so now it is given the perimeter of parallelogram ABCD is how much? 150 centimeters. That is given. So AB plus BC plus CD plus AD is equal to 150. So your AB is x, your BC is x plus 25, your CD is again x, and your AD is x plus 25 is equal to 150 centimeters. Okay, so you understood AB plus BC plus CD plus AD. Okay. Now further, I'll again write the step. X plus 25 plus x plus 25 is equal to 150. Therefore, like terms will add. So x plus x plus x plus x becomes 4x plus 50 is equal to 150. Therefore, 4x is equal to 150 minus 50. Therefore, 4x is equal to 100. Therefore, x is equal to 100 upon 4, which is equal to 25. Okay. Therefore, we have found that CD is equal to AB is equal to X. So that is equal to 25 centimeters. Whereas AD is equal to BC is equal to X plus 25. That is 25 plus 25. That is 50 centimeters. So what are the length of the sides of the parallelogram? They are the length of the sides of the parallelogram are 25 centimeters, 50 centimeters, 25 centimeters and 50 centimeters.